We are now in the last month of the semester, the first semester of the year 2025. I therefore hope we can use this month to start thinking about the prospects for the second semester and see what has worked in our administrations and what has not worked. And as you can see this morning, we have just raised the colors with the Confederation anthem, which is yet another step.
On June 9th, 2025, a voice echoed from the heart of West Africa, a voice that pierced the noise of diplomatic games and global indifference. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, stood before the world from the historic Kuluba Palace and delivered what may go down in history as one of the most courageous wake-up calls ever issued by an African leader. In a moment of rare clarity and conviction, Traoré confirmed what many have long suspected, but few have dared to declare publicly. Foreign powers are deliberately working behind the scenes to fracture the newly born alliance of Sahel states, AES, a fragile yet determined coalition of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, whose shared vision is to reclaim their sovereignty and destiny from the grip of centuries-old neocolonial domination. His words were not cloaked in diplomacy or weakened by political correctness. There were no euphemisms, no half-truths, only raw, unfiltered truth pouring out like a river dammed for too long. They want us to turn against each other, Traoré warned, to fight not for our people, but for the interests of those who have always seen Africa as a chessboard. This wasn't the start of a war cry. It was the call of a guardian, a brother, a son of the soil refusing to be complicit in the continued exploitation of his land. He didn't just speak for Burkina Faso, he spoke for the soul of Africa. His voice, calm but unwavering, held the weight of generations, from the warriors who resisted colonizers to the young dreamers in the dusty villages of the Sahel. He spoke not just as a president, but as a witness to suffering and a steward of hope. We are under pressure, he admitted, not with defeat, but defiance. Behind those words lay stories of sabotage, bribery, divide and rule tactics, the same tricks used by empires to keep African nations weak and dependent. But Traoré's message was not one of victimhood. It was a call to awaken, to unify, to defend a dream not just for Burkina Faso, but for a liberated, self-determined Sahel. His message pulsed with the pain of betrayal, but also the fire of conviction. He reminded the world that the AES is more than a political alliance. It is a moral and spiritual rebirth, a stand against centuries of extraction, manipulation, and silence. In delivering the full, uninterrupted speech, translated into English so that no truth would be lost in translation, he stripped away the pretense and exposed the hand behind the puppet strings.
This morning we have just raised the colors with the Confederation anthem, which is yet another step that we are taking in our union, which is not without difficulty, because unity is hard, especially in Africa. It is difficult to unite, but it is the solution. We must unite. Little by little, the AES continues on its path, despite all the difficulties, all the challenges.
Traoré didn't ask for applause or sympathy. He asked for vigilance, for understanding, for solidarity. He asked African people to see beyond borders, beyond tribes, beyond the fake news and manufactured crises, and to recognize the old enemy dressed in new clothes. With each word, he honored the lives lost to coups, to drone strikes, to starvation, to imposed sanctions that hit the poor hardest. He honored the women who sweep the streets at dawn, the farmers who till land under the sun with no machines, the soldiers who die with dreams of freedom in their hearts. He reminded the youth that their future is not a handout from the West, but a right they must protect and shape with courage. "We will not betray each other," he declared, sending a message to his counterparts in Mali and Niger, a pact not sealed by ink, but by blood, soil, and shared sacrifice. Traore's voice, though soft-spoken, thundered with ancestral power. It was the voice of Sankara, of Lumumba, of all those who dared to imagine a free Africa, and was silenced before their time. But this time, the voice was not silenced. It was broadcast, recorded, and echoed through villages, cities, WhatsApp groups, and radio stations across the continent. In a world that often rewards silence and punishes truth, this speech stood as a monument of resistance, not just against foreign pressure, but against the internalized defeat that has plagued Africa for too long. In every sentence, Traoré reclaimed the dignity of his people. In every breath, he demanded that Africa rise, not with violence, but with vision, not with bitterness, but with boldness. His words will not please everyone, especially not those who profit from chaos and dependency, but to the ordinary African, the teacher, the nurse, the market woman, the university student. His speech was a balm, a validation, a spark. It told them that they are not crazy to believe in unity, in self-sufficiency, in African pride. It told them that resistance is not only possible, it is necessary. As the speech ends, uninterrupted and unedited, one cannot help but feel a stirring deep within. The kind of stirring that marks the beginning of something irreversible. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has drawn a line in the sand, not with bullets, but with truth. And truth, once spoken, cannot be unheard. Western powers should leave Burkina Faso alone, not out of pity or fatigue, but out of respect for a people who have endured generations of suffering and are now rising, unshaken and unafraid, to reclaim what has always been rightfully theirs, their freedom, their dignity, and their destiny. For too long, the Sahel has been treated as a geopolitical playground, a zone of endless extraction where the lives of ordinary people are traded for resources, influence, and power. But those days are ending. Burkina Faso, alongside its determined allies Mali and Niger, has stood up and declared, in no uncertain terms, that enough is enough. The Sahel states are no longer begging for crumbs at the table of imperial powers. They are building their own table with their own hands, rooted in the soil, nourished by the blood and sweat of their ancestors. This is not rebellion, it is rebirth. These nations are not driven by hatred or vengeance, but by a deep, righteous desire to give their children a future free from domination and deception. The West must understand that these people are not pawns. They are survivors, visionaries, builders of a new dawn. They are tired of being lectured about democracy, while their elected leaders are overthrown by foreign interference. They are tired of being fed aid, while their gold, uranium, and cotton are siphoned away. They are tired of being blamed for insecurity, while foreign troops occupy their land with little accountability and no real results. What Burkina Faso and its Sahel partners are doing is not a threat to the world. It is a call to conscience, a plea for space to breathe, to grow, and to heal. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.